Crackdown on dissent shows no signs of letting up. This week, we saw the arrest of Vladimir Kara-Murza, an outspoken critic of Putin and his war in Ukraine. On Monday, he appeared on CNN Plus and called Putin's government a regime of murderers. That same day, he was detained and sentenced to 15 days in jail. My next guest is no stranger to Putin's heavy-handed tactics. Bill Browder was once the largest foreign investor in Russia. Then Putin turned on him. He is the author of a new book, Freezing Order. Bill, you've been watching Putin for many, many years, and you in a sense called the shift early. I want to ask you if you think Putin has changed, because if you looked at the invasion of Georgia, it was limited, it was clever, it simply took nibbled away the Russian-speaking parts. This seems full frontal, reckless, as Carl Bildt was saying. It has changed Finnish foreign policy after 70 years of neutrality. Do you think Putin changed?
I think Putin has always been the same man. What he's doing right now is responding to things that he sees as threats to his own security, his threats to his own personal safety. He's a dictator. He's been around for 22 years. He's stolen enormous amounts of money. The Russian people are angry with him. And he's watched dictators in other neighboring countries, in Kazakhstan and Belarus. In Kazakhstan, the dictator was overthrown. In Belarus, almost overthrown, only with the help of Putin stayed in power. And he saw the writing on the wall. And so what I see Putin doing right now, this is a wag the dog scenario. He's basically starting a war to distract the Russian people away from his own failings towards a foreign enemy, because he's afraid of losing power. And if he loses power, he ends up going to jail and probably dying. And so he's not, I mean, yes, it's all crazy, this full frontal invasion, but he's just responding to his own fears, and that's what this is all about.
And in the past, every time he's done one of these foreign interventions, it has,
it's uncanny. If you look at the chart, Georgia, his approval ratings go up. Crimea, his approval ratings go up. And now the same thing here. It's almost like mechanical. He starts a war and he gets higher approval ratings.
Do you think, though, that means that your theory of the case is that underneath it all, there is a lot of discontent in Russia?
Well, how could there not be? I mean, basically, all the money. So I estimate that since Putin took power until now, he and the 1,000 people around him have stolen $1 trillion from the Russian state. $1 trillion. And that money should have been spent on healthcare, education, roads, public services. And instead, it went to yachts, villas, private jets. And how can anyone be happy with a situation like that?
When I had Mikhail Khodorkovsky on the program, once Russia's richest businessman, he said that he worried that while Putin for the first, let's say, decade was busy stealing money and appropriating, siphoning off funds, he's now worried that it's even worse than that Putin is no longer interested in material gain. What he is interested in, he has these visions of being the next Peter the Great or Ivan the Terrible. He wants to leave a kind of grand mark on Russian history as having saved the Russian-speaking people. Do you see that?
Well, he's definitely not interested in money, because look at what's happened to his money. It's being frozen all over the world. So there's something else going on. But I don't think, if you take that analysis, that would say that he's got some national interest. He's interested in the greatness of Russia. But how can anyone be interested in the greatness of Russia if they've stolen all the money from the people and hollowed it out completely and absolutely? And so I would say this is more about a desperate little man who's afraid of being killed. That's really what it comes down to. Is he's just a small little man who is worried about the people rising up against him.
Do you think that the economic sanctions are the right way to go? What should be done? How do you put real pressure on Putin?
Well, sanctions are like medicine. It depends on when you administer the medicine to a disease, whether you stop the disease or whether it goes full force. If we had done some sanctions, even a small portion of these sanctions, early, before he invaded, just like 5% of them, so he could see that there was that we could all lock arms with our allies and do something, he might have had a different calculus. Once he's made the decision to invade, there's no changing his mind. He is a guy who never compromises, never shows weakness, never backs down. The purpose of sanctions now are very simple: to completely and absolutely starve him of the financial resources to execute this war.
But the problem is the oil and natural gas revenues keep flowing. I mean, you're a practical businessman. Realistically, Europe can't shut itself off from Russian energy. So what should they do?
Well, you're exactly right. So the war costs $1 billion a day to execute. Germany, Italy, Austria send $1 billion a day to Russia, to Putin, to buy bullets to kill Ukrainians. And so it's a real problem. They have to stop. I mean, are they going to stop 100% of that? No, but I think that it's possible and feasible to pare it down quite a bit. And there's one other thing which people don't talk about a lot, which is the oil price. Saudi Arabia could turn on the taps and pump 1 million or 2 million barrels a day extra oil, and the oil price would go down 30%. We have leverage over Saudi Arabia. We should be using it now. And if they don't back down, or if they don't cooperate in this whole thing, they should be considered part of the problem as well.
Tell us about Kara-Murza, the newly in jail dissident. You met with him. He's a friend of yours, and you urged him not to go to Russia.
I was with him 2.5 weeks ago in London. We were having dinner, and I said, where are you going next? I wanted to invite him to my book party in Washington. And he said, I'm going to Russia, but I'll be at your book party. And I said, you can't be serious. You can't be going to Russia. He said, no, I have to go. I'm an opposition politician. I'm asking the Russian people to stand up to Vladimir Putin. What message would it send if I'm too scared to go to my own country? And he went, and he got arrested. And I should point out that they've tried to kill him twice with poison. He survived 2 assassination attempts. He's now in the custody of the people who tried to kill him.
What does it say about Russian dissidents? I'm struck by how brave these people are. They were attempted poisoning. Navalny, they tried to poison. They tried to poison the president of Ukraine when he was a candidate. This was about 10, 15 years ago. They tried successfully poison many dissidents, but there still is a vibrant dissident community in Russia. Will it stay? Will it make a difference?
Well, all it takes is we don't know how this whole thing is going to play itself out, but what Alexei Navalny, who's in jail, and now Kara-Murza, who's in jail, their calculation is that at some point Putin is going to misstep. The whole country is going to rise up. There's going to be chaos, and then there's going to be a need for a new leader. And I can imagine if that were to happen, and it's happened in a lot of other countries, Navalny will be the president and Kara-Murza will be the prime minister.
Bill Browder, always a pleasure. The book is Freezing Order. The last one was #1 New York Times bestseller. Best of luck on this one.